Hello and welcome to another edition of The People's Rose. I'm Jarrett.
I'm Brooke.
And we are a married couple who love reality TV.
Yeah.
So much so we started a podcast. When you're listening to The People's Rose, we watch all the reality TV shows we love to watch. Then we come here and talk about them. Now, okay, we've been on a kind of accidental hiatus of 1 week hiatus.
1 week.
I was feeling a little sick. We recorded an episode. It didn't get edited and put out, but it will. You will get some of that content from that still. We talked about the secret lives of Mormon wives.
Oh, yeah.
And Brooke's Buzz last week's. So at the end of this episode, if you're wondering why this one's so long, they're going to have an additional bonus segment of That People's Rose. You know what? Actually, no.
Oh.
No, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to put it all in one. We're not going to break it up
Okay.
into two. And if you just want that segment, if you just listen to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, that is going to be also uploaded as its own to YouTube. So you'll be able to look at it there on our YouTube account. It's at The People's Rose on YouTube. We're at The People's Rose everywhere on social media. You can see our beautiful faces on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow us there. We'd love to interact with people online. And, of course, subscribe and follow us on any podcast platform you like. We really appreciate all the help. And please rate us. Please.
5 stars.
Especially on Apple. We had a ratings bomb from some...
That's never got fixed?
I mean, it's steadily getting fixed, but you can't remove ratings.
I know, but...
You need to overcome, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a whole issue. Maybe we'll talk about it later. But we've got a lot to talk about this week. That's why we don't have any more time to talk about it. We have got the Golden Bachelorette.
Yeah.
We've got Big Brother to talk about.
Yep.
We're going to get another Brooks Buzz. You're getting 2 Brooks Buzz for the price of one this episode. And we're also going to talk about The Circle on Netflix. So any other preliminaries, Brooke, before we get started?
Nah.
Okay, well then let's go ahead and get started on the Golden Bachelorette. The Golden Bachelorette, for those who don't know, is the second iteration of the golden version of the Bachelor franchise.
Senior citizen version,
right,
if you will.
Exactly. And although you don't have to be a senior citizen, which is 65, it's like...
True.
Older.
Our Bachelorette is 61. The youngest guy is 57.
Right. So you don't have to be a senior citizen. You just have to be in the golden years of your life.
Okay.
Hence the title. And we had Gary in the Golden Bachelor. No, that's enough to say about that. Although he's making an appearance.
Rip.
And now we've got Joan as our Golden Bachelorette. Brooke, why don't you tell us your opinions on Joan just out the gate?
I really like Joan. I think she's beautiful. I think she's fun. I think she'll be a great Bachelorette. I don't think that she will get married like Gary.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think she'll get engaged and she'll meet someone, but I don't think they're going to like rush and televise their wedding like Gary and Teresa did.
Yeah. She's a little younger, so I feel like maybe they got more time.
Yeah. That just feels, I don't know. And in the preview, she's like, I've only ever loved one man. And then she's like, well, then now I'm in love again. So I just feel like she's not she doesn't want to rush into that.
Which is honestly for the best. Gary, our first Golden Bachelor, him and his final one got married and then they got divorced.
Yeah.
And you never want that to happen. I feel like most people don't really want that to happen.
Well, definitely, yeah.
And so because of that, we've got to... I can see what you're saying about there being less rushed. But okay, but what are your opinions on her?
I said she's fun. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think she seems very. I mean, she's very with it. It seems like she's athletic. She kept saying like she wants to go on adventures and she wants an adventure partner.
Right.
So I think she just feels like she's just like wanting to make the best of the rest of her life. Right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think she's really cool. Joan was not my favorite in the sense that I don't dislike her. Her personality is just very neutral.
Well, we didn't even really get to see that much of her.
Right.
You're talking about, you're going based off of the Gary season?
Yeah. And even like from what I've seen of her, there's nothing really to dislike about her, which is a step up from some other people.
Yeah.
But what I'm just saying is, some people have like that. She just seems very neutral.
You want the like charisma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to say she's lacking charisma, but she's just got a very like classic neutral.
Fair.
There's
That's
really
fair.
nothing that jumps off the page. Well, she's very special.
Okay.
Everyone's very special.
Okay.
That's the part. That's the hard part. Because I don't dislike her. I'm just kind of like, man.
She's no Hannah Brown.
Definitely. But you see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and I hate that we're starting her season comparing to other women. It's like we're doing the Jen thing.
Yeah, come on.
All I'll say is that there was such a cast of characters on that first season of The Golden Bachelor.
Yeah.
And I can't believe, like, I think her name was April, maybe, that first season. There was somebody that I was like, she's got to be it. So I personally am a little disappointed, but I hope that every man that was cast on the show is there for Joan. And I think so, because they all kept pointing out one of her standing things is that she left the season early to be with her daughter, who was having a child, another grandchild for Joan, and so she left. And so family is important to her.
And there were lots of guys talking about their daughters.
Yes.
Yeah, and Keith, who I would say is a front runner, his whole job is girl dad.
Keith, I've got these guys' pictures here.
You know. Tall, deep voice.
Yes, this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith. If you're listening, and then our viewers can't really see.
He got the first impression rose too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Keith, I think, is a front runner.
I think so too.
Voice. So, but all of these people that are contestants, for the most part, except for maybe the Texas Rancher, we saw their children, the legacies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so these people have lives. That's what makes this different from the Bachelorette. Like Devin, I'm not even sure Devin really knows who he is yet.
Oh, brother.
Right? And as for these guys, they're in there. They were all standing around like, she's got a great group of guys. And even the younger guys say that, but they were just like, wow, it's just an honor to be with you men who are awesome. And once you've lived a life, you've played a part in raising a family and things like that.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more depth.
For sure.
Keith is definitely a front runner. I would also say it's hard. I should have done a quick overview of the pictures beforehand, because just to familiarize myself. Did we point out any other front runners in the notes? I think that maybe Jonathan, bald head, Michael Jordan looking type guy.
I don't think so. That on The Ringer, Juliette Lippman and Callie Curry, they were talking about how much they loved Jonathan and how he was like gonna win, and I was like, I really don't think so. I think he's a very handsome man.
I
think he's very young, but
he's her
like
age.
Looks very young. But it also appeared that he had very young children. Like his children still look like they could be in high school.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just feel like she's like not. She doesn't want that. She's like in another chapter of life.
She's definitely in another chapter of life. He's 61 looking. He's got like 10 more years of parenting to do, right? At a minimum. Yeah. You're always a parent. I've been told.
But like and I don't know, she might be ready to move, but he's not going to move if he has kids in high school.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
And she has her grandkids. So I just don't, it's just, for me, it feels like two different stages of life.
Yeah, it's very interesting because ages, there's a range of ages, but you could definitely got different vibes. I forget the guy's name. I think it's Jordan from Chicago. That guy looks 37 or maybe a young 40 or a cool 41.
Yeah.
And seems really down with it, like just seems current.
Yeah.
Not that the other guys, you know what I mean, but it feels like that guy could go start a family.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about
wasn't he the one with the daughter who had her girlfriend in the
Yes.
That might kind of be why he's young. You know what I mean?
But that's keeping him young.
Because he's like he's like modern.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
As opposed to guys like Chalk, who definitely maybe, I feel like Chalk. You remember him from North Carolina? I think it was where he was.
But she seemed to like Chalk.
Oh, Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, where he's from. She does like chalk, but that's my point. She seems to like there's chalk, there's Keith, there's those
Jordan.
guys, but no.
Oh, you're saying
that are in that stage.
Oh,
and I don't know if she's going for the Jonathan, the
Jordan.
Okay. Or what's
I see what you're saying.
Joey's fiance's.
Oh, Mark.
Mark. I also feel like Mark's a little still like.
Even though love Mark.
Kelsey's older, I feel like Mark is a little more like. He's still got youth though.
I think he's like one of the most handsome men there.
Okay,
but I think he's retired. Like I don't think he's working.
I hear what.
And all his kids are grown.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I'm taking it past just.
She wants
kids.
More like older.
Yeah, I don't know if I
vibes.
feel like she's want older vibes, but maybe the second stage.
Hey, some women like younger men.
The second
just
stage
ask me.
Well, but you're arguing against yourself. Like, that's what are you talking about?
What?
You just said you don't think she wants a younger guy, and now you're like,
no,
So I'm like, what are we talking about?
You said she doesn't want a younger guy.
Not a younger guy. I feel like there's, we're in like whatever you want to call it. I don't know what his age is, but then there's like midlife.
Yeah.
Like kids in high school to your kids entering their 30s. You've got more. You just got your money back. When it comes to financial independence.
Yeah.
And you want to go live that midlife adulthood, right?
Yeah.
And then there's that after midlife. I guess we'll, for the sake of the show, call it the golden years.
Yeah.
Where you did a lot of traveling and maybe it's time to.
Yeah.
Like there's that one guy. Who's the Navy guy? I don't have.
Oh, the ship.
Kim.
The guy on the ship.
Kim has lived 17 lives, it feels like, right?
Dude.
He was in the Navy for, I think he said 30-something years.
Yeah.
Then he was single. He divorced at some point.
Yeah.
Then was single for, I think he said 8 years.
Yeah.
Then was married. And then she died, and he's been single for another 6. I'm like, the math isn't even
yeah.
on lifetime.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, he's had enough that this is like, okay.
Right. Like settle down years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I see that. Kim looks exactly like Captain Lee from
and
Sounds from the what is that show called? What is it? I keep wanting to say Fresh Off the Boat.
Below Deck.
Below Deck.
Fresh Off the Boat. She's referring to a TV show.
The TV show.
Not the derogatory.
No. Sorry. Yeah, the Below Deck, which is crazy. I'm like, do you have to look like that and sound like that to be ship captain?
Right. It's just interesting. There are because these guys are so, they've lived their life, and I think there's very sure of who they are. Mm-hmm. And maybe, when you get to a certain age, you kind of recalibrate a little bit, like, who am I now? Mm-hmm. But they seem so much more self-assured than the men or women in the younger seasons.
Yeah,
I think it just comes with life experience.
For sure.
Like, we've got, and because of that, we're seeing such a range of different people and personalities. Like, I believe Gary was his name. He was a retired financial executive from California. He came in with the gold suit. He was dancing.
He was like having a good time.
Right. He's just going, wow. It felt like all night. And you saw his grandkid. Who just, you could tell, loved his personality.
Yeah.
And then you've got that to the very serious Texan farmer guy from Austin.
They barely showed him, though.
Right, I don't think he plays too much.
Yeah, I don't think he even got a Rose.
I don't think so. But I'm just talking about the variety of people that are on this show.
Wait, which one's Charles? Because I have a star by him, and I can't even remember
Charles is the Asian gentleman whose wife died unexpectedly
and
recently.
His beautiful daughters.
Very beautiful.
Yes.
Exactly. But he's a whole different personality.
He seems so sweet, just genuinely kind and sweet.
Right, truly. But he also seemed. I liked that he was like, yeah, she seemed to like me. You know what I mean? When he was walking off, that kind of like, yeah, okay.
I like how he was like looking around the house, like, this is nice.
Right, and then you got, and now. Oh. The end is near.
No.
And so I face the final curtain.
The entertainer.
The entertainer is what we call him. Jack. He's our caterer from Illinois.
Yeah.
And who also appears to be a great chef. Well, that makes you a caterer.
He's a
I meant
caterer.
to say a great singer.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he does dinner on a show.
I think so. That's why I want to call him an entertainer.
Yeah.
He's just a bubbly guy. And you get a lot of that. And not in a way where
like
it's
he's
almost
there for a good time.
Right, but I think sometimes when you get the younger people, it feels a little performative.
Yeah.
They want to be this person. These people have been these people their whole life.
That's very true.
You see what I'm saying?
That's very true.
Then you've got guys like Pascal, who is his own different person, a French Chicagoan who is a hair salon owner who loves to travel.
Oh yeah, Pascal.
Right. And
yes, I don't know if Pascal. I don't think Pascal's a good fit for her either. Because I don't know. His business might be like self-sufficient now, but he seems to be very invested, and he talked a lot about all the money he has.
And here's the problem. It really just depends on what Joan's into. We don't really know what Joan's into.
That's true.
So because I think the French suave bachelor playboy, you got to really be into that, right?
Yeah.
If that's your type, women flock to those guys. Don't have any trouble getting girls because there's girls that like that type.
Sure.
If it's not, you're almost like, no, thank you. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he got a rose shows that she's at least entertained by it all. People kept commenting like, "Oh, I could listen to this French guy talk." I like how at one point the guy was like, "Where's that fake accent? Where's that guy with the French accent?"
Oh yeah,
fake French accent.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Hey, I fly to Paris twice a year to make sure I keep this accent," which actually was pretty cool. I think, but it's an interesting group of guys.
But I think in the spirit of what you were saying about like him being that some of the guys feeling like younger, I think Pascal goes into that category.
Definitely.
Because even his son was young and was like, I won't throw parties while you're gone.
Yeah, in that stage of, like a midlife partyhood. And not like midlife lake house settling. Does that make sense? If you can understand what I'm saying. So let me ask you this. Do you think it's going to be a good season?
For sure.
Yeah. We didn't see any fighting, which is like such a part of the younger version of the Bachelorette with the guys and the egos.
True. But even on Golden Bachelor, there was some bickering amongst the girls.
Because that's drama that continues on into like the Real Housewives. You can get drama from it. You know what I'm saying? But these guys it's like the guys themselves said in one of the early scenes, like it's not as much testosterone as there would have been previously. And
well, we'll see. Maybe they're just not showing that, but we'll see.
But it's the preview and it's the Bachelor. You think they wouldn't show drama if there was? The best they could muster is that Jack jumped into a pool and they're like, Jack's only here to have a good time. True. That's all we got. I think these guys seem very respectful. And when it comes to love story, which is what people watch The Golden Bachelor for, I like that. At first I was like, it would have been nice to see a little more drama. But I think it's better for these people who are entering this golden years of their life to be drama free and let us see a love story. Yeah. With some zany antics. Right. So who are your front runners?
Keith.
Okay.
Jordan.
Okay.
And Chalk.
Yeah, I don't like Chalk. This is again, I don't know Joan. So I think is from Maryland. Is where she's from.
I think so.
I think the thing about Chalk is, and we don't know from Joan just yet her personality. Chalk just gives me, I don't know. He gives me kind of like the stern, no nonsense Southerner type dude. And I need to see more fun from him. Fair. There's like we're both from Houston, so we're kind of Southern or whatever. Well, actually, take that back. You're not from Houston, but anyways, you've lived here long enough. You know what I mean? You've lived in a Southern state long enough to like. I don't know. He just seems like some of the older guys are kind of like. Are you ever fun?
Fair. You know fair. Yeah.
And I need to see some funness from Chalk. Okay.
Maybe he just sticks out to me because of his name. That could be.
He does have a memorable name, but I need to get. I forgot what was his profession again. I need to see something that makes me go, okay, Chuck seems like a fun guy.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that just yet. He was a insurance executive. And those guys are typically serious. Like I know tons of insurance executives.
I know.
Okay. So let's finish up. Who is your prediction? You want to do final two or just final one?
Well, I'll just do, final one. I think, I already think Keith. Like, I think Keith is it.
I also think Keith. I do think it is going to be Keith. He got first impression rose. But as a just maybe I'll give my second place. I don't think it'll be this guy unless she's into him. That's a weird qualifier because of course it'll be him or she's. But you know what I mean. I think it'll be I could think Jonathan. I don't actually think Jonathan's gonna win. But I'm
just because he's so like handsome and young.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So okay, well that's what we've got so far. That was the first episode. We don't have much more to go off of, but as the season continues, we'll continue on with the season. Let's also get into Big Brother.
Listen, I don't know what it says about me that I've thoroughly enjoyed watching them be tortured this week.
Yeah, this was janky week.
Granted, let me say, of the things that you can torture someone with, this was pretty light torture.
Yeah, I mean, they just were camping. They were camping in California.
Yeah,
and eating pizza and ice cream. That is pretty gross, but that's all they ate was pizza and ice cream. But Big Brother is a reality show on CBS. We love it. It's one of our favorite shows. Big Brother this week. We're actually recording. Normally we record right after the eviction episode on Thursday. It's Saturday. And today is now when we're recording, so we know who the HOH is. So we're much more up to date. We know who the nominees are. And depending on when this episode ends, we might know who the veto winner is. All that to say, last week the house guests found out they were going to be staying and playing the entire week of Big Brother outside in the backyard, locked from going indoors.
Even the ceremony, the eviction ceremony was outside.
Yes.
Which, I mean, makes sense, but still, like, usually on eviction night, they're, like, getting dressed, getting ready to the nines. No, they made them wear Janky World colors, Janky World merch. Right. They sat outside. They did it all outside.
Right. Yeah. It was a little crazy.
You know what's so funny, too? I saw a clip from, like, today where they already were back hanging out outside. Yeah. And I'm like, why are y'all hanging out outside? You've been there all week. But I'm sure it's, I know. It's just like you have the option, makes it different.
And you're also the queen of needing to go out and do something. You know what I mean? So
True.
If you've been locked up all day, you're like, and especially in a studio, not a house, you're like, I gotta get some air.
True.
So yes, and so it was the Janky World and the Janky HOH. Winner was Leah.
Yes.
Which is right on time
Leah's
for her.
First HOH.
If it wasn't for her winning, she might have been up on the block.
You could see her mood just completely flip. And never seen her happier in that house.
She was fun. She was her energetic, bubbly self. She was doing a lot of, while the other people were miserable, doing the singing of Janky or whatever the song was.
He made them sing, made them dance.
Right, made them make ice cream.
All through the day, all through the night.
Like T-Core and Mackenzie just,
And Cam, too. Cam was, like, not having it.
Just, moaning through it. And then Leah, you'll see her in the background playing with her Barbie or dancing with their stuffed animal.
That was cute. So they had, like, carnival games set up. And they had, like, prizes of like stuffed animals, so they all had like gotten the stuffed animals down and they all had stuffed animals. I thought that was pretty cute.
Yeah, it was their support stuffed animals. It was very cute. But she was the HOH right on time for her. She had just solidified something kind of sort of with Angela. And Angela,
what's their they made a final two, the Lorraines, because both their middle name is Lorraine.
Angela Lorraine and Leah Lorraine. A lot of L Angela, Leah. Anyways, so this comes right on time for them. Which is for the people who wanted just constant, not chaos, but constant turbulence. this was the optimal outcome because Leah and Angela find themselves in the middle of a trio of Mackenzie, Cam, and Chelsea, and Chemo, Rubina, and T-Core.
Yeah, so it made sense. And honestly, they were in a pretty good position. If
Who?
Leah and Angela.
Yeah.
If Angela would have won this week, this HOH, it would have been really good for them.
And it's still fine. They have opportunity to win vetoes. They're the veto players this week. Just to while we're on it, are both Angela and Leah have the chance to win the veto.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be able to win their way. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I found myself kind of rooting for them this week, and I try not to like jump on the bandwagon of whoever is HOH, but this season has just been so weird. Like there hasn't been there's usually a side of the house that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on that side of the house. Mm-hmm. I don't even feel like I've been like that this year.
Yeah, me neither. We are rooting because I mean I'll find myself when I say what I'm trying to say is we keep up with the live feeds through updates, tweets, TikToks, Reddit posts, whatnot. And so we watch sometimes too, but we don't have the full attention to just be a reporter about it like we used to.
Right.
But when we're watching the updates, I find myself okay because I know they're underdogs. Yeah. I don't have any problem with Leah, but even Angela, I find myself going like, this would be a good move for Angela if she pulls it off. But then I see Angela herself and her antics and her whining and crying and victimization.
I know.
And I cannot root for her.
I know.
I just can't do it.
And even this week, T-Core was like, just the sound of her voice is on my nerves. And I'm like, that's so real. I so get that. Like, I totally get. And she was like, she's been so fake to me all summer. And I'm like, she's fake to everyone. Like, I think she's just fake. Yeah. But I will say, I'm just falling into her trap, but how much she loves the game, I gotta respect. Because I feel like T-Core was very much like not that interested in the game.
Yes, I didn't think it would end up to this point. I agree with you 100%. What we thought, where was the second where I think everyone, fans of T-Core or not, thought, oh wow, she's really playing this game really well. Mm-hmm. But we found out she wasn't playing the game. She really was just looking out for the people she liked the most, which was happened to be Rubina and Chemo. Yeah, her little clique is all she was there to do. It was vibe out with them because she didn't really fight too hard to save herself. Yeah, her strategy, things that we thought were like, oh, good game strategy, was again just be like, oh no, I prefer my friends. Yeah, and then what twisted it for me, I was like, oh dang, she's kind of disappointing. What made me actively start to root against her was her entitlement. Yeah, like, oh, why don't they? You know what I mean? And it's just the way. And the final straw is when they started doing. Her and Rubina were like, we're the good guys of the season. We're showing the world that you don't have to play cutthroat and you can just play with your heart and love and be your best. I'm like, what are you talking? Once that happens, I'm fully out.
I can understand, like, your heart and your love for Rubina and Chemo, sure. But, like, that's been done time and time again. It's just like a showman's without...
Again, that's how you know they don't watch. They haven't watched for a long time because season 6 with the Friends Alliance, but they were we're just friends or whatever. That was the most hated alliance in America. Yeah, back when Big Brother, it's still watched by tons of people, but was trending a lot more. Or maybe not. Anyways, back in the day, America hated them, and that was shocking for them when they got out of there. If you're in the house, this is a piece of advice. Do not get self-righteous. Just don't. Yeah. Don't think that all of America's on your side unless it's something like there's a murderer in the house, you know what I'm saying, or a sex offender. Yeah. That's not what I'm talking about. But the whole, like, we're going to show what America came to see. Mm-hmm. It's just like, come on. Rubina seems to think she also has a chance to be America's favorite player. Mm-hmm. And so she said stuff like, I don't mind coming in second or third if I get America's favorite player. And I'm like, Rubina, that's not happening. And you need to try to come in second. Yeah. So you're right. That side of the house doesn't really... And Chemo's a super fan too, but he's done nothing. Yeah. And you don't have to say be Quinn.
You're right.
and I'm not saying be Tucker, but
I will
give me
say,
more than just.
he's survived the block a lot though.
But when you start surviving the block just because, well, what is chemo gonna do?
Yeah.
You're seen as such a non-threat and so I was about to say infertile, but so not sterile, so anemic, whatever, that people just don't even. They're like, we can get chemo out whenever.
Oh yeah.
It's a little different. Angela has won multiple comps. She is a wild card, and so I think people are saying we'll get her out whenever because she's always going to be a huge target. And chemo has done nothing, and so it's just like we're not going to. Even if he goes to the final two chairs, we're not voting for him to win, so he's not a threat even to win.
Okay, even in this HOH for this week that Leah won, we didn't even talk about that, how it was an endurance comp and it lasted 9 hours, and Angela was final 3 in that comp.
Angela was final 3, and I think she lost the mental willpower to continue. What she did, she lost on purpose.
But she made a deal before she went out.
But also, I just think mentally it was 9 hours no sleep.
Yeah.
9 hours, however many hours of no sleep, but 9 hours through the night of not sleeping is taxing.
Right.
Even Cam lost it when they volunteered to go stand on one leg, which is how Leah won HOH. We didn't talk about the HOH comp, but go Leah for winning. Yeah. Yeah,
so if you didn't catch on, T-Corp did end up going home. Yeah. Leah targeted their trio. Angela,
all three of the trio were on the block at one point.
Angela decided to use the veto on chemo, and chemo's like, this lady's voted me out twice now, and she's using the veto on me. Right. So I guess that was her way of like trying to get back in his good graces. I don't know.
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Angela, it seems like some people might go like, whatever, me and chemo are enemies. Yeah. But she's trying to win the game. Yeah. So if without knowing who she is and just seeing the moves, I'm like, I appreciate what you're doing, but she's somebody that is just very kind of like not. I don't think we would mesh well. Yeah. To put it the best way. Yeah. But I think maybe in 2 more weeks I could be like, well, more power to her if she does end up winning.
Yeah. We also saw Chelsea kind of crack this week. She Cam and Mackenzie are getting really close with the touchy and the cuddly and the feelies, and Chelsea's had enough. And it just they had this like fight kind of, and he was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And finally they talked, and she still wasn't just saying, yeah, I have a crush on you, so I don't like watching you get close to her. She was like, people are going to target y'all because you look like a couple, so you shouldn't be so close. And it's just kind of like, no, that's not really what's happening. Not really what's happening. So my girl Chelsea, I want better for you. Like, let's just kind of maybe put that aside. Let's put our feelings aside. But I get it. But let's put them aside.
I could legitimately have an hour-long podcast about Chelsea, Cam, and Mackenzie. Deep dive into all the social stuff.
I know, it really is a lot. Because even and then even Mackenzie like went to her and was like, do you have feelings for him? Like, I like won't touch him, And she was like, no, I don't. So then of course, and then Mackenzie's like, well, I don't like him. I have Matt and I have some other guy back home. So it's like, okay. So I mean, she knows that that's what's going on.
Yeah. Again, to keep myself from going on an hour-long rant, I'm going to purposely boil it down, hopefully, really quickly. Cam, anyone with eyes knows what's going on with Chelsea. Cam clearly respects and likes Chelsea enough to not just be like, I don't like you, please leave me alone. He genuinely does, at bare minimum, seem to want to be friends. Yes. And but she is, and so, and that's what it is. He also wants to be friends and establish friendships with Mackenzie, who him and Mackenzie both seem to be touchy-feely.
Yes.
Even with their friends at bare minimum.
Yeah.
So that's that. But he wants to be friends with Chelsea. She, however, is treating him like her 2-year-old brother, controlling, possessive. And to me, is just kind of really risking taking her game. She's past looking foolish. She does look foolish.
Yeah.
In spite of that, she is playing a good game. She kept herself off the block, even though she targeted Leah. Leah did not put her up.
True.
It's undeniable she's playing a good game. This is her one blind spot, though.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much more to it with Chelsea, but she just needs to. At the bare minimum, Cameron does not want to. He doesn't like her like that in the house, and she needs to move on from how she's acting. It's really embarrassing for her. Mackenzie, I think, knows clearly what's going on, but it's also just kind of like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, she's respectful enough that I do think her and Cam have cooled down. We haven't seen any of it as it was in Jankie World and before, but I think everyone knows what's up except Chelsea, weirdly.
Yeah.
And she's making it harder a little bit for Mackenzie and Cam to navigate around her, but they still want to play with her.
Yeah.
So they still like each other, but it's also like, I don't know. So,
imagine it comes down to them final 3. What is that going to look like?
The smartest thing to do for Mackenzie and Cam would be to get rid of her.
I know.
And if that happened, she would be like, "Let's see what I say." That would be she would be saying, "I told you so."
Yeah.
But it's just there's so much more to talk about. Probably another thing about it, I know, we have a podcast about talking about it, but I just don't feel I could do it much more justice than a brief summary.
Yeah.
Than without making it the Chelsea, Cam, and Mackenzie podcast.
You can read the threads on Reddit if you want more.
There's a lot more to it. I just think Chelsea, and you're still a big fan of Chelsea, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I found myself rooting for Leah and Angela this week. Like I said, I don't know if I'll say more, but I'll be okay if Leah, Chelsea. If Leah or Chelsea win, I'll be happy. Yeah. Anybody else, I'm kind of like, okay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I was kind of hoping. This is another thing. A lot of people haven't called her on this, but Chelsea also kind of prevented a full-on girls' alliance from happening. I'm not saying it would have happened, but driving a wedge between her and Leah and Mackenzie a little bit kind of kept them from all coalescing.
That's true.
And Cam still kind of stayed.
Because she wanted to drag Cam along.
Right.
And she has dragged Cam along.
Yeah, and Rabina and T-Core were always going to be loyal to Chemo.
Yeah.
But maybe if it was the girls building momentum.
Yeah.
That momentum could have, and I'm not saying it would have happened, but it could have happened maybe without that.
And she wanted to keep T-Core because she had built that bond with T-Core, and it's like, well, if you wouldn't have included Cam, you could have.
And this is my evidence for it.
Well, yeah.
This is my evidence for it. Okay, so on the circle, there were 2 parts of the house of the social media of the circle.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 girls parts of the house, girls' wives, that did not like each other.
Mm-hmm.
There was Rachel, and was on one side. Madeline was on the other.
Mm-hmm.
They were forced to connect, make a bond, and we'll talk about that more in the circle. And because of that, they shed the guys that they were with, kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And went all in, at least this week, this round of voting.
True.
On a girls' alliance.
True.
And that's how it happened.
True.
People that were like, oh, we're circle husband and wife, shed that. It could have happened if instead of Chelsea going against Leah and Mackenzie, that all of them, it felt like we were moving towards something.
Mm-hmm.
But then that got in the way. Mm-hmm. Imagine if Madeline had allowed Andy to get in the way.
Yeah.
Or if Jadeja had allowed, Darian to get in the way of her and Deanna all voting the same way.
Right.
So, yeah, It is what it is. So yeah, that's what happened in Big Brother House. We had Leah. She was able to break up the trio successfully. Get T-Core out. I think we both agree it was time for T-Core to go.
Yeah, I mean, any of those three, I think it was time for them to go.
They're jury voters.
Yeah.
And the problem is, those three are all going to vote the same way, and you have to convince them to vote to win. So
True.
That's what that needs to be back in the back of the winner's mind. How are they going to do that?
True.
And so the HOH comp this week for the newest week was stacking. We haven't seen that episode yet, but we do know that the winner was, if you don't want spoilers, we're about to talk about it, Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm.
She won the HOH for this next week, and her targets are Angela. I think just Angela is who she's zeroing in on, and her nominees were Angela and Chemo, with the hope of targeting Angela. The veto players are, of course, the HOH, Mackenzie, Cam, and no. Well, yes, but Angela and Chemo, and then Cam, Chelsea, and Leah. So basically, everybody but Rubina is a player this week, and Leah. No, just everybody but Rubina. And so we're now at the point where it's winner or go home, basically. And we'll see. Angela's done what she's needed to do this far. Will that trend continue? And we know that next Thursday we're gonna have a double eviction episode. So come rain or snow, sun or shine, sun or whatever,
whatever,
hell or high water. we will try to record that Thursday, that double eviction, and so we can get
that's
that
gonna
analysis.
be brutal.
Anything else on Big Brother?
I don't think that's it.
We've got who are we rooting for? Who are you rooting for, Big Brother, to win at this point? You say Leah,
Chelsea or Leah.
Chelsea or Leah. Who are you rooting against?
Probably Cam or Rubina, just because I don't think they've played great games.
And then
Rubina actually has played a better game than Chemo.
Yeah. Who do you think will win?
I think Mackenzie, Leah, or Chelsea.
Mackenzie was in a great spot.
I think Angela might be in the running too if they don't get her out, to be quite frank.
Truly.
I think if Angela goes to final 2, she wins.
100%.
I really do.
100%. In addition, Mackenzie was in a better spot until she won HOH, because I think she could have convinced Angela that she was never really going against her.
Yeah.
But now that she's going against Angela, I don't think Angela's going to vote for Mackenzie if Mackenzie gets her out. Okay. I'm rooting for, I think I'm rooting for, I don't even know what to say.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just rooting, I think I'm rooting for maybe Leah. Maybe I can join you on the Leah. And if we're going to go off just who was the best player, I'm rooting for Chelsea to kind of wise up. I want to root for Chelsea, but I'm like, come on, let's drop the Cam stuff and let's get to playing. Then rooting against, I don't think I'm rooting against anyone. I just wouldn't want to see Chemo or Rubino win. So maybe them. And who do I think will win? I think Mackenzie or Chelsea. That's going to be our winners at this point. Okay, that's it for Big Brother. It was another good. It was a janky week. And we're moving on to Brooke's Buzz. What buzz do you have for us this week?
All right. So last week, well, you haven't heard it yet, but I did a full rundown of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And I just had another update because the guy that I was saying is the ex-husband of a Salt Lake City housewife, he also was on The Bachelor. He was a contestant on The Bachelor.
Right.
He was on Claire's season, Claire Crawley's season.
Right.
Obviously, we know how that worked out, and yeah, now he's married to Demi. So I just, worlds collide.
Right.
Okay, you've been on one reality show, you want to start going on them all, apparently.
Right.
Then it seems like there was another crossover I was gonna say, but I can't remember. Oh, we got the cast of the House of Villains too. Yes. And the narrator is gonna be the housewife from Salt Lake City, who remember was Reality Von Teese. She was like running the gossip site
now,
for the Housewives.
Narrator, you mean host?
No, because Joel
Villains is Joel McHale.
Joel McHale is still gonna host. She's
so what
like,
do you mean by narrator?
I don't know. That's just what she said on Instagram. She said she was the voice.
Okay.
So I don't know. We'll see. But then also the cast, Tiffany's coming back. Tiffany Pollard.
Yeah, New York Tiffany Pollard.
I'm trying to remember. I should have written it down. I forgot to write it down. I can probably Google it real quick.
So House of Villains, we really watched that, but we didn't cover it on the pods, did we?
We didn't? Oh, was that during our hiatus?
I think we might have gotten maybe one episode of it.
I think you're right.
During while we were again adjusting to a new.
Okay, well, I don't know if we're gonna cover it. It might be a break when it comes on again. But Wes from the Challenge. Okay. Do you recognize him?
I don't know anyone from the Challenge. Okay,
he's been on for years. Oh, Teresa Giudice from New Jersey Housewives.
That's funny. I would call it Geodice.
Oh, look, Jesse from Big Brother.
Yep.
Richard Hatch from Survivor.
Yeah.
Victoria Larson from The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Larissa from 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, she looks a lot different.
She's had a ton of plastic surgery.
Right.
And then a couple from RuPaul's Drag Race, Bad Girls Club, Love and Hip Hop. And I think that's pretty much, those are the ones that we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be good.
Yeah, we liked House of Villains. Before, and also on the Real Housewives, on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Mm-hmm.
I have not watched the show. We talked about it again. That's going to be bonus content at the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Our Brooks Buzz from last week that didn't air on a podcast. I've just seen a lot of TikToks about Whitney Leavitt. Is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
And her husband, and that's his. I don't want to speculate on someone's sexuality, but I'll leave it at that.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's just, I think she's a very intriguing character.
Oh my gosh, she should be on House of Villains.
She's become the villain. I think I've seen, only because I've seen the TikToks.
100%.
And then I didn't realize last week that she was the girl from TikTok who did the Love Me dance to her baby in the hospital. So which I had seen before the show and didn't even know that was a Mormon mom talk thing. That was such a big thing. Like, what is this lady doing?
She's infamous for doing a TikTok dance at the bedside of her son in the hospital struggling with RSV.
And it's so deranged. It's Black Mirror
stuff. Everybody was. I mean, she got destroyed for that. And oh my gosh, the way she talks about it on the show as like she is the victim. It's awful. It's awful. She couldn't even say like, I did it in poor taste and I see why it was horrible and I should never do that. I will never do that again.
Yeah.
She basically was just like, I am just, people are just like not forgiving me for it. And she was like, the reason I have a problem with Taylor is because everybody forgave her. The internet forgave her for cheating on her husband and the swinger stuff, but nobody forgave me for the dance. And it's like, girl, those are two totally different things.
If she would just like you said, if she would just say, hey, that was ill-timed.
Maybe she didn't on the show, but maybe she has. I don't know.
I honestly think people would find it a little endearing, if not quirky, funny. You know what I mean? Like, okay. What I mean by this is she can only see life through the lens of TikTok because that's what made her famous.
Mm-hmm. That's how she makes money.
We have to make mom talk or whatever quote that is. And so she's expressing herself through TikTok and this thing. And that's when people drew the line, like, okay, we do the dances are fun or whatever when they don't mean anything, but you dancing in front of your sick baby in the hospital is not what we signed up for.
No.
So for her, she needs to understand that her fan base does dictate her popularity.
Yeah.
And her all of that. And so if they're like, we don't want this content, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
If she just like, that was a mistake. I lacked a little self-awareness. Sorry.
I mean, she still has the second most followers. So
all of TikTok?
No, of the Mom Talk girls. So I mean, people want to see the train wreck, as sad as it is.
But that's I get what you're saying, but a lot of people lean into it, like Tua. That girl is, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But the people, it's not like people are showing up, and maybe they are. I actually don't engage with their stuff, but I feel like the people who are still on board like it and are just like, oh yeah, do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she's got a podcast now.
Yeah.
But if she could always been like, why is everyone, blah, blah, blah. Of course, people will be looking to instigate.
That's true.
But she was just like, yeah, I said a funny thing. Want someone to ride it until the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if Whitney would just go like, oh yeah, I danced in front of my baby and that was really dumb, but you know what I mean? Oh well.
Yeah.
People would be like, oh, it's Dancing Baby. And she's like, yeah, I'm dancing. Here's a perfect example.
Okay.
Have you heard about Autumn, the Autumn lady?
The Autumn lady?
Okay, anytime fall comes, she's like the Mariah Carey of, Mariah Carey and I Don't Want Christmas. When the fall season comes and the girlies start dancing and dressing in the
leggings and boots.
But like the horse boot. What do they call it? The riding boots.
Yeah.
And the big brimmed.
Yeah.
There's this lady. It's like, what is that called? Fall
girl aesthetic.
Girl. I don't even know what to call it except for their fall aesthetic girl, right? Every year, Christian Girl Autumn.
Oh.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
This is the girl. Okay,
yes.
So this girl got roasted. Caitlin Covington is her name. For being like the poster child of the beanies, the luscious wavy hair, and the you know what I mean?
Right.
And instead of being like, I don't know why they keep making fun of me, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
She just leans into it.
Right.
And in fact, some of us are like, okay, we get it.
But that's a little different. You can't lean into being the girl who danced by her sick baby.
Right. But if you remain combative about it and and continue to show a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah, true.
The only reason people are still going at her is because she lacks self-awareness.
True.
I'm sorry for hijacking Brooke's buzz.
Yeah, I know,
I'm sure
right?
You did not mean to talk about this for that.
No, it's fine.
I'm just saying, Whitney Leavitt, I can see, because of how much self-awareness she lacks, I can see why she makes a good villain, even though I haven't watched the show.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then moving on, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City started. This season looks promising. It looks like another Whitney. So the Whitney from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City looks like she's going to be in the hot seat this season.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting because she's always been the one to, like, I don't know, try and keep peace with everybody.
Yeah.
And then there's a new housewife named Bronwyn who is very interesting, and she is 38 and her husband's 65.
Yeah, par for the course.
So there's that. And then Mary Cosby is back as a full-time housewife.
What?
Yeah. So
didn't she do some messed up stuff, I thought?
I mean, yeah, but haven't they all?
Right.
I don't think she did anything like directly to anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought she got let go because she did something.
No.
She just wasn't a match.
Yeah.
The thing about her is she's almost a little too crazy. Mary Cosby, just from what I remember, is like, at some point you have to be like, okay, what's the deal?
She's kind of one of those people that you like can't ever please. And so you can either just go along with everything she does and say to please her, or who wants a relationship like that? Or you're just always gonna be on the outs with her. You know what I mean? Like, she was having this conversation. She was having this conversation with one of the new friend of, and I don't even remember. She said something along the lines of, Mary was talking about how she grew up with not a lot, and so she lives in excess. But she didn't really say excess. She says I buy whatever I want, basically, whatever I need, but it's way more than what she needs. And this girl was like, "Oh," while she was saying it, the girl's like, "Oh, you kind of hoard things," and she was like, "No, I don't hoard." And the girl's like, "Oh, I grew up poor too, so I was just saying, like, I don't, like it's just kind of like an expression, like I'm not saying like you have a problem."
Right.
And she's like, "Okay, well, I also didn't say I grew up poor." So then the girl was like, "Okay, sorry." So it's kind of one of those things where it's just like you can't ever say the right thing, and that's exhausting,
Yeah. And not the same kind of, because Mary Crosby is insane. And that's honestly, she's a pastor's wife.
No, she's a pastor.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. She's the head of a church, right?
Yeah.
And not they're not Mormon, but it's a
I
Abrahamic.
think it's Pentecostal.
No, definitely
It's not Pentecostal?
No, it's adjacent. It's like
Oh, okay.
it's a Abrahamic religion type, close, but if you look into what they're actually talking about, I don't know, it's more culty. Anyways, all that to say, that is not of Christ. She is not to act the way she's to talk about not Christian. Secondly, she's crazy. But in the same way of that, like once you're on the outs with her, they don't really ever reconcile. And if anything, it gets worse, and they get worse about it. Reminds me of another cast member who I think is just kind of never coming back, which I don't know why Mary came back. And Phaedra. I've only seen 2 seasons of Phaedra on TV. Mm-hmm. One with Real Housewives and one with Traitors. She actually only acknowledges that she's on Traitors recently.
Yeah.
But
but she's actually back. She's coming back to Atlanta this season. Back. So I'm almost positive.
So maybe they're bringing all the crazies back.
I think she's because Candy left. And Candy, she was the one who made horrible allegations towards Candy. Right. So now that Candy's gone, Phaedra's coming back.
Well, see, that's my point. And for rest in peace to Candy being on Atlanta. I think she's one of the greatest housewives of all time. But my point is, as long as Candy was there, Phaedra was never going to be there. Because Phaedra was never going to apologize and never walk it back. Yeah. And I'm not saying every housewife apologizes, but I feel like there's never a beef that lasts longer than 4 or 5 seasons. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And eventually it's like, whatever, that was in the past.
Well, sometimes they become friends. Not on Jersey. Oh my gosh. Oh, well,
yeah.
But I don't even get me started on Jersey. I don't like Jersey. I'll just say it here.
Oh, gotcha. Really?
Yeah, I do not watch Jersey.
I know you didn't watch it, but
no, I don't like it.
That's the one with G does, huh? Mm-hmm. What's her real name? Jadusi?
Teresa.
Jadusi? Jadice?
I've heard it pronounced so many ways.
Whatever her name is. We actually respect it. We just don't know how to pronounce your name. I apologize. But again, Phaedra and those people that just never forgive can sometimes for me be like, okay, well then please leave the show. Like on Traitors, not to spoil it, but she got into a beef with one of the contestants. And it just felt like she was going to take it to her grave.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to be like, okay, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And that could just be her first show. But even after in the reunion, it was just like, okay, everyone was kind of like, okay, we moved on, right? She's like, no, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a person, not even in that show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, that's all I have for Brooks Buzz.
What an awesome Brooks Buzz. Again, we had a Brooks Buzz that unfortunately didn't make it out in time last week. We're going to put it at the end of this episode. So you can go ahead and fast forward to that if you don't want to hear us talk about the circle. Because that is what we're about to talk about here at almost the 60-minute mark. Let's dive into The Circle. Mm-hmm. This is season 797 of Netflix's The Circle in America. And it's only been on the air for, it feels like 2 years. 700 seasons in 2 years is crazy.
Wild.
No, but we really like The Circle. Mm-hmm. It's one of those shows where I think when we see the announcement, they're like, dang, they're doing another Circle this year? But then it comes on, we're like, oh yeah, this show's actually really fun.
Yeah.
And funny.
Well, it's easy for them to make. They're just they have the setup, they're in the room, like it's easy.
And I think I remember reading that during quarantine, they filmed like 3 or 4 seasons.
Oh yeah, you said that.
and they just kind
Yeah,
of
because
release
they're
it.
literally quarantined.
Right. It's like the perfect quarantine
Yeah.
type of filming show. And so, long story short, there's a social media. It's on the show. There's like they're playing.
We've
The whole game
given
is
it
played on
before. We
social
have to
media.
give it again.
Right? No, we don't.
Okay.
If you don't know the circle, go watch and
Or
you'll
just
understand.
Google.
So we're on. We've had 2 weeks of episodes come out. That's 8 episodes.
Yeah.
We've seen the latest. We've seen all the 6. There's 2 we haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really good season. Again, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. Michelle Buteau kills it as a host.
Mm-hmm.
She did just a voiceover until the very end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And she's really funny. I really like her as a host.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would be a good Big Brother replacement, although I don't know if she's everyone's style.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, Julie's not everyone's style.
Yeah, I think Julie actually is very few people's style.
Yeah.
It's just that she's
done it
she
for
was
so
the
long.
first and did it for so long.
Yeah.
You relate to her being in the show. I love Julie because
Same.
of Big Brother, and but I almost have this like thinking that if like Chris Harrison left, we're like, oh, it's gonna be so different without Chris Harrison. Then Jesse comes, you're like, wow, it's almost
fine.
Maybe
yeah.
it's even better.
Yeah.
I wonder if Julie were to leave, and we saw that last week. We actually that episode.
But Jerry
didn't air.
O'Connell was not
He
there.
was horrible. He's not.
I mean, he was not. It's not. He was fine, but he didn't have it.
But if they get somebody awesome, would we almost go like, oh, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So the circle. This season we've got
3 catfishes. Well, now 4.
Right.
We have the twins.
Mm-hmm.
So there's twin brothers from Staten Island who are playing as one of their girlfriends.
Yeah.
Gianna, who's a bombshell. Then we have Rachel, who is a probably 50-year middle-aged woman playing as a young adult woman.
Yeah, like
we don't
20s,
know her
23, I think she's
connection with her. She's not doing great. Not doing great.
I don't know if you remember, you were falling asleep. She just did get ranked 2nd.
Oh, she did? Who was first? Who was ranked first?
Madeline.
Wow.
As Madeline, she got first, and Madeline as her got 2nd.
Okay, so they did a swap. They did a profile swap.
Right.
Which, have they ever done that before?
Not in this way, no.
It was good. So
that's one thing about the circle. Their twists are immaculate.
Yeah, they're so good.
Their twists are always really fresh and spur gameplay and never stifle it.
Yeah. So Rachel, who's the middle-aged white woman playing as a 23-year-old, swapped places with this girl Madeline, who's this like sexy OnlyFans model, early adult woman. And so Rachel, I don't know their real names, so we just gotta go with Rachel. So Rachel it's a little touch and go with her flirting because Madeline, the OnlyFans model, was in a showmance with Andy, another catfish, Andy, who's being played by a young woman.
Right.
Which she was actually doing great, I thought, as him.
I think they actually, at the end of the day, they both did great.
Yeah.
And we were cringing because we were like, she was taking risk.
Yeah.
And plus, I feel like sometimes the people would be like, huh?
Yeah.
But ultimately, no one ever thought, like, this is a Madeline.
Yeah. So basically, Madeline and Rachel, if one of them got out, then the other one would be stuck playing the other person's profile for the rest of the game.
Right.
So they were teamed up, and they're like, neither of us can go out. Like, we cannot go out. And this one was do or die because it was, if you get ranked last, you're out.
Right.
So they teamed up and they worked together, and Madeline, who was playing Rachel, was like, listen, we gotta cut Andy, who was her showman. Like, that was her, like, circle hubby, right?
Right.
But she was like, no, I gotta save myself, which shout out to you, girl. Like, you did it.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it worked. They ranked each other high. They pulled Gianna in. Gianna was up there in the rankings, and Andy was last, and Andy got the boot.
It's when it comes to circle gameplay, it's as good as you can get.
Yeah.
They started Alliance that week.
Yeah.
They had a target. that they created that week. That person goes home. They both got ranked 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It would have happened whether they were influencers or whether it was a bottom rank. It's like perfect gameplay.
Yeah.
And it's, again, that's the situation I'm talking about, in that the girls formed a coalition and all the guys were ranked dead last except for Garrett, who is,
he's with the girls.
Right. They kind of drafted him into it. So the guys in Darian, Andy, and Kevin were dead last.
Dang. So now, I really like Darian and Jadeja. They're kind of have a little thing going on, but I'm worried about it. I don't want Jadeja to get dragged down by it.
But she also feels like she needs, because Gianna, like, it was confusion. There is nothing happening with Darian and Gianna, but anytime someone shows any like connection to Darian, she's also like, that's my man.
Yeah, they're kind of going like heavy on the romance, spicy, sexy vibes this season.
I think the production pushes that really hard or they either cast people that they know are going to push that really hard, because there's these combos that they're having. They're not like, how we used to be, not us too, but you know how it was of people who are millennials on AIM, Instant Messenger, or those early Wild West days of Facebook Messenger. Hey, if you really want to cringe, millennials, listen to me right now.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to cringe, have an out of your body cringe experience, go to your Facebook. Go to your Facebook messages. Scroll all the way down to the Facebook messages you were sending in middle school and high school.
They're still on there?
They're still on there.
Oh, no. I need to delete those.
And see not even what people were saying to you, what you were saying to your crushes, to your friends, what you were mad about. And that is pure, unfiltered cringe.
Oh, I'm so scared.
That you will never, ever, ever be able to forget. You will wake up and go, well, maybe you'll forget about it, but it's still there until you delete it.
Oh, gosh.
So, again, these conversations aren't like that on The Circle, from what we can tell. Now, they could be editing out a lot of it, so it's not like you have even all that time.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, I like you. You like me. Circle husband, circle wife.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think it's almost under the guise of, hey, let's flirt and also be in the line.
For sure.
There was only, I think, a couple people that have ever taken it super seriously. And that was the British girl whose name escapes me.
Oh, yeah.
Who was like ready to like get engaged.
Yeah.
To the person who was catfishing her. And a couple of people last season, Corey Tyler.
Yeah.
And I think not Corey Tyler, but what's his name?
Poppy Fuego?
Whatever his
Fuego
name was.
Poppy?
I think he was really trying to get with Corey Tyler for real.
Probably.
Okay. So let's talk about the state of the circle. Let's just go. I think it's just best with the circle because there's so many episodes that come out at once. One thing I want to say is that there's more episodes. We'll update it later, but Andy goes to see Madeline.
Oh, did they show it?
They did, but I paused it because you were deep asleep.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
It's okay. Let's just go start with the bottom and work our way up to the top. Andy.
What about it?
Just what are your thoughts? We'll do
glad he's gone. Don't care.
Yeah, she was kind of, and also, okay. There was a girl playing as Andy, of the guy. Andy is a real person who is actually a member of a band.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say this, but I mean, and I don't even mean this derogatory, but there's really no other way to describe it except a groupie of some of the metal bands in their area, right?
Yeah.
And she also, anyways, and she really admittedly had a crush on Andy. They dated for a while. It didn't work out, but they're still friends. That's what we know.
Yeah.
And so she's playing as a person he has a crush on, and she actually said she still likes Andy, and maybe it would work out. It won't. But then when she came in to meet Madeline, Madeline's first words were like, "Okay, so you're not Andy. You look similar to Andy. Do you know him?" And she's like, "Okay, here, I'll tell you." And then she was like, "Okay, so you're not Andy. Can I like get his number?" And then the girl who's playing Andy was like, "Oh yeah, of course. You are going to meet him. I'm going to hook y'all two up." And I'm like, "No, you're not."
Oh my gosh.
That was a whole weird thing. Okay, but
wait, so you did watch her go?
Well, that happens in the first 5 seconds. Okay. But you're right. I agree.
No, it's okay.
It was time for them to go.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Next is Kevin, our lifeguard.
Kevin, he's just kind of a kid. I don't know.
He's a kid.
He's made some mistakes.
He has.
He sent home his like alliance.
But
like
that's
his...
because I think he would rather flirt with Madeline than Savannah.
Yeah, probably.
And then when that didn't work out, you know what I mean? He was in kind of rough water. But now that Andy's gone, he may try to flirt with.
Yeah.
So here's my thoughts. He's kind of bumbling around. The one good thing he always does is initiates conversations. He's willing to forgive people even when they like target him and Rachel, and he is very kind and like nice to people.
That's true.
He will be like, "Oh, let's hear more about you."
That's true.
And that sometimes just that likability can go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Before Rachel stirred the pot about him, remember everyone liked Kevin.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so I think he's on the bottom right now, but I think he can bounce back up and even win.
I can't remember why Rachel didn't like him.
She thought he was shifty. And you're right. I don't remember what was the onus of it. But
there was something that Rachel did not like about Kevin, and then it came out that Kevin turned on his alliance member, and she was like, "See, I told y'all." Basically,
yeah. And her and Gianna are so tight. They're both from Staten Island.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right. I think he's not out for the count just yet. Mm-hmm. Before I forget about him. We got a new person in the circle, Tiara. Or we don't really know much about them.
That's another catfish.
Right.
So Tiara's being played by a male
who is her friend.
Who's her in real life. They're besties.
And he doesn't really give a good reason for why he's catfishing as her.
Yeah, well, he said it was because he doesn't meet the male beauty standard. Isn't that what he said?
Again, he didn't really give a good reason for why he's catfishing as her.
Yeah, I think he would have done. I think he would have done fine as himself.
Perfectly fine. Anytime a catfish does the whole like. Anyway, they make it too dramatic of a reason for why they're catfishing, and it doesn't make sense. I'm already rooting against them.
But he said he was playing as himself, so like
he
already told. But he already told his adoption story.
But they all do that.
Well, okay.
And then you know what the first thing he's gonna say when he meets everybody, whether it's at the finale night.
You're right. I already know.
What I want to say is everything I said was all me. Yeah. Everything I told you, that was really me.
Yeah.
I just used the profile. And it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. We totally get it. In fact, I would cut him off if I was on the show and it was like, I just want to say, like, let me guess. Everything you said was all you. Except the fact that you're catfishing. Okay, next is Darian.
Yeah, I love Darian. I think Darian, he's doing great, yeah.
Seems like a good guy. We're going to wrap it up. We have a son who's been napping while we record this podcast. We're going to go rapid fire mode. Okay. Darian, cool. Gianna, probably my favorite. The two Staten Island bros.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they kind of annoy me.
I love the Staten Island people. The Pete Davidsons, the Colin Jost. I'm a Staten Island. I'm a fan of Staten Island.
Okay.
Next is...
They're probably in a pretty good game, though.
Yeah, they are.
Manage to save themselves from going home. They're making good alliances.
They have a ride or die that it's like to the end with Rachel.
Yeah.
They're in a good spot, I think.
Yeah.
Garrett.
I don't feel like I know much about him. He's new. He's kind of just there.
He's going to go to the finale night because I don't think he's going to have enemies.
I guess him and Jadeja had a good combo, so I feel like maybe they can kind of work together. That might be good.
Yeah, the way the circle works is you rank people, right? And so a lot of people rank their enemies last and their friends highest. And the people they're just okay with in the middle. And what happens is the people who you're just okay with, that everyone kind of ranks in that 4th or 5 or 3rd, could end up winning because they just don't have any bottom rankings. So Garrett is going to make it to the end and could win only because I don't think he's going to do anything enough to polarize him, to make someone rate him dead last.
Yeah.
That's how you lose the circle, is getting ranked dead last.
Yeah.
Okay, next is Jadeja. We talked a little
about
her.
Love her. Think she's great.
Very cool.
She's from Houston.
Yeah, she's from Houston.
She's smart. she has a great career.
She came from poor. Yeah. And she'll admit it. A group home.
She came from a group home.
And she's a hustler. So.
She has a lot of younger siblings that she wants to care for.
Cool.
Cares a lot about.
I hope she goes far.
Same.
After that, there's one person I'm missing. There's another girl. Unless Jadeja was third.
We talked about Rachel.
Yeah,
we talked about Madeline.
And that's all. I guess that's all the people in the house.
I think so. Tiara.
Yeah, I guess that's everybody. So that's the circle. If I'm sure again, there's been 6 episodes. We can't remember it all here at this point, and we do have a child we're gonna go take care of. So I guess is that what we got this week?
That's it.
It's been a great week of reality TV. Stick around. We're going to get a bonus segment of Brooke's Buzz from last week. It's going to be all Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Brooke's review of that first season that came out, and so that's going to be coming right now. Let's get into it. We have the return of the greatest yet to be awarded podcast segment in the world. It's of course, I'm of course referring to Brooke's Buzz. Welcome back. It has been a while since we've gotten the buzz. Brooke's Buzz is kind of a cool segment that we do where Brooke talks about shows that she watches that I don't really watch.
Or just gossip in the reality TV world.
Yeah. And so I'm interested, Brooke. What's the buzz this week?
All right. So I have watched 2 very popular, one reality show and 1 documentary out currently. So let's first talk about Secret Lives of Mormon Moms.
Okay.
Or Mormon Wives? Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yes.
Okay. So this show follows a group of Mormon moms from Utah who have gotten together and created a little group called Mom Talk.
Yeah.
They call themselves.
Yeah.
So they post TikToks of themselves.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to be honest, that is not the side of TikTok that I'm on. I really avoid the influencers and sometimes I'll do the mom stuff, but not really. Yeah,
from what I hear, you're on mostly the trauma dumping side of TikTok, where someone pushes the TikTok upload limits, where they just discuss the horrors of their life.
That does happen a lot, yes. Or sometimes on funny stuff, or cute kids doing cute stuff, or sentimental stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm like, why am I even watching this if I'm not even... And as soon as I started it, I was like, yeah, this is why I'm not on that side.
Right.
Because it just feels very fake and very coming from a privileged perspective.
Right.
I don't know. So that's tough.
You like your stars out the mud.
Yeah. But I will say with this, you kind of got the backside of it. So for example, they go on this one trip. Together, and they're fighting with each other this whole trip.
Yeah.
And they also amongst that are shooting TikToks together and posting the TikToks.
Yeah.
So you don't really see the fighting and the drama, but because we have the show now, we see it. So that I kind of like, right? Because that is another side I'm on, is the drama talk.
So how long ago was it filmed? Let's say...
I think a year. Okay. Actually, no. I think the pilot was filmed maybe a year ago, and then they took a break, and then they came back, and I think it was last... I guess it was a year, because it was last winter, so January, February.
Yeah.
I guess not quite a year, but I think they took a break because kind of the star of the show, Taylor Paul.
Okay.
She just was really going through it. She had... Okay, this is a part that you were there's no way.
Yeah.
Because the kind of all this drama came out because Taylor, who was the quote leader creator of Mom Talk, she came out on a video and said, okay, we're all swingers and things went too far and I cheated on my husband, so we're getting a divorce.
Okay.
And so basically all the other girls, nobody else Well, okay, remember I told you that happened and you were like, there's literally no way.
Right.
So basically none of the other girls like came clean about that. Like
Right.
none of the other girls were like, yeah, we did that.
Right.
So so I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe she did just make it up for
Right.
like views and stuff.
Right.
And to like maybe make her cheating less serious.
Right.
I don't know. But apparently this is like basically just like Utah culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be. I'm sure there's other people that they maybe might have done that with. I don't know.
Okay.
But all so kind of at the beginning, all the other girls are like kind of mad at Taylor because she did this and kind of drug them down when they really weren't involved.
Right.
But
now they have a TV show.
It does, yeah. It doesn't really last long, except for with one girl, which is Whitney, who is the other, like, Regina George. Okay. She's Regina George.
So these are Utah. I think from the reality shows I've seen in Utah, I need a breakdown. Who are the devout Mormons and who are just living in Utah?
Unfortunately, I cannot keep their names straight. Because they all kind of look alike. Okay. And they all kind of just run together. Okay. But they did have this divide where they said, like, the sinners and the saints.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought a creator had just made that up, but that was a real thing they said.
Yeah, they were saying that on the show. But they all are Mormon. They all say they're Mormon. Right. So I don't really know that much about Mormon, but yeah, it's very interesting.
Okay.
I think.
How do you think the show compares to other shows that are out there right now?
Like what?
Well, I mean, the other shows that are in the lane, like Housewives, like Kardashians. No, actually, how does it compare to Succession and The Bear?
So I think it's pretty comparable, but people were comparing it to the Housewives and saying, like, this is the new Housewives. Like, we need to get the young people on the Housewives. And I do kind of see where they're coming from, but to me, it's just different show. We're talking about young moms who are who are influencers. Right. And that lifestyle. And when it comes to Housewives, they're not. Yes, they might become influencers, but they don't start as influencers. And so I think that's what makes it interesting to me. I see. Because I'm seeing their lives and how.
And it's a little more normal in the sense that they weren't always performing.
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, it's just different to me.
Okay. What do you like more? Secret House of Mormon Livers or whatever it's called? I don't know why I said it like that. Or Utah Housewives, Salt Lake City Housewives.
Oh, Salt Lake City Housewives.
I remember I watched that first season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City with you, and that was like almost as good as, well, I think I've only really seen 3 or 4 seasons. Yeah. But there was an Atlanta season I really liked that I ended up watching with you. Yeah. And it was the season with the Portia Candy drama. But that first season of Salt Lake City almost made me a Housewives fan. Yeah. Because of just how crazy it was. Yeah. And I haven't seen anything from I'll just say it, like the homogenous TikTok mom talk. I haven't seen anything that's really grabbed me. Even with Hulu running those, we're all swingers, you should find out. Yeah. I was like, okay, do y'all think. Nothing was really grabbed me from the promotional stuff to make me want to watch.
Yeah. That's really not even like that big. I don't know. That wasn't even that big of a storyline, I guess I'll say. Yeah. Now, I did hear, and I did not confirm. I tried to look it up, but I think I got distracted. So one of the Mom Talk girls, she's like 20-something, and her husband is like 46. And I heard that her husband is the ex-husband of one of the Salt Lake City Housewives. But I don't know if that... I need to look it up.
Yeah. Well, Hulu is it's cool to see them expanding. I feel like every network is really pushing reality TV. And I think it's obvious
Yeah.
why. It's cheaper than
Yeah.
scripted shows. You can make them, I think, quicker. And the audience is so built in. I mean, we have a podcast around reality.
Yeah, I mean, people like it.
So, and then it goes viral. The drama extends beyond the show.
What are those?
So it's like free promo for your show because people want to like, okay, I gotta watch this because I see so many TikToks about it.
Yeah.
And I heard Brooke talk about it on the People's Rose, so now I gotta check it out.
That's what's happening with Mom Talk too. And apparently there's 2 girls who were like really big in it that did not want to do the show. And so now there's drama about like why they didn't want to do the show. And Taylor is saying it's because they refused to film with her because of the swinging scandal. Mm-hmm. Which that could be true.
It is this. What's so dumb, and this is from a person who's got a truly outside perspective, because I had not even heard of Mom Talk as a serious thing that people said seriously until maybe the show.
I had heard Mom Talk, but I didn't know
that it was like a thing.
Yeah, like when she said I created Mom Talk, I was like, what? I thought that was just like mom on TikTok.
Yeah, just like it's just a hashtag.
The
and
truth
the fact
is,
to say like I created Mom Talk, I'm just gonna get into it. Seems a little desperate to me. For this again, I haven't seen a second of the show, but it's just the idea of a bunch of women in Utah. You know what I mean? I felt like they just wanted a way to classify themselves, which is a great branding idea. You know what I'm saying? We're not Addison Ray. What is her name?
Addison Ray.
Or the D'Amelios.
Yeah.
Or the young girl dancers or whatever.
Yeah.
We're not the cool, like, you know what I'm saying? We're not the socialites in New York. It's Mom Talk. And it's in Utah. I'm like, it's in Utah? What? That's another thing about it. That's just another thing about it. This whole, like, Utah invasion with the dirty Cokes.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Those Coke places look like they go hard.
And lift up your water bottle. That's part of Mom Talk as well.
What? A Stanley?
Mm-hmm.
No, okay.
No, seriously. That's what started. That's the reason you're drinking it now is because a bunch of Mormon mom influencers started drinking them.
Okay.
Those were like men's camping gear before that.
Okay.
So anyways, what I'm saying is it's like so like it's just a way that they branded themselves. So I guess you can say, oh, we started it. But to me, it's just like, just post the videos on TikTok.
Well, really, they're just
follow the People's Rose on TikTok. We started the People's Rose Talk. And we are excited to announce the beginning of People's Rose Talk.
People's Rose Talk.
And hashtag People's Rose Talk. And we'll be able to say we founded it.
Yeah. But really, they're just like hot moms.
I've seen the pictures.
That's what it is.
That.
No,
I think it's just their moms their moms from Utah.
Okay, Jared. I'm just saying, when I think of a typical, and maybe this is my own bias, but when I think of like a Mormon mom, that's not what I think of.
What?
Those girls on the show.
But that's my point. That's what they want you to think of.
Right. That's what they want it to be. They want to like break the stereotype.
They want to create a stereotype. They
want to change it.
Yeah, they want to like. It's not there. I don't think there was an active. You know what I'm saying? I guess people might think of like the women with their head covered, and I forget the guy's name. 17 Wives.
Yeah, I think of like the Sister Wives.
Right. No, I think the Church of Latter-day Saints is trying to. Oh, you have watched a lot of Sister Wives.
Mm-hmm.
Is trying to market themselves as the cool new.
Wait,
it's working.
You think the church is?
Not. I actually do know. It's part of the thing. It's part of their evangelism to normalize. This is not this kind of podcast.
Yeah, where is this coming from?
The truth.
Just your research.
Yeah, it's
personal research.
Look it up.
So they're not like.
Well, these people aren't like that, but they're encouraged by everything. You know what I'm saying? To make it seem more palatable and cool and hip.
So you don't think the church is like upset by the way that they've portrayed them at all?
maybe by some of the things that they do, but just the fact that when people think of, if you're gonna ask me, do I think the church is upset that people are trying to push the agenda of when you think of a Mormon, you think of a hot white mom? No, that's exactly what they want.
There is one mixed girl.
Again, one out of 7 women on that show.
8.
Let's move on.
Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, so the next one, a documentary, Chimp Crazy, which you refused to watch with me.
Right. But let me set the background for this. Anytime a chimp appears anywhere, a monkey of any kind, Brooke is like, oh my gosh, ew, that's scary. That's creepy. Get that monkey away from me. I'm like, it's just a picture on the screen. No, monkeys are weird and gross and creepy. How could anyone look at a monkey for more than 2 seconds?
Okay.
Monkeys are so, they just give me the ick. And then this promo for this show dedicated to people who are obsessed with monkeys comes out called Chimp Crazy. And Brooke's like, I must watch this show. Jared, do you want to watch this show? I was like, no, I don't want to watch a show about people getting their face ripped off by chimps. And she's like, it just looks so interesting and captivating.
That only happened once.
In fact, I'm like, where's my wife? Like, what happened to the lady who dislikes chimps?
Okay, I'm not much of an animal person. That I cannot deny. Okay, that's just, it is what it is. But what I am is a person who loves people who are different. Okay, and these people who are in love with the chimps,
right? But
are different.
And I'll let you talk about it. But one of the reason I'm not, it just seems kind of, these people have a mental illness and it's a dangerous one. Chimps rip people's faces off. Like they are dangerous.
They are dangerous.
And people infantilize them.
Okay, but let me ask you this.
And like give them human traits.
Well, that is
true. But
they're
mild animals, and it only ends in danger and violence. Like, only.
The human trait thing, you're right. That is very true, and we'll get into that. But is that why you were more down to watch Tiger King than this?
No, Tiger King happened. Well, here's the difference, because it's by the person that made Tiger King. We were all locked up. We were in COVID. We were in this weird quarantine high everyone had, right?
True.
And it was kind of like, yeah, sure, everyone's talking about Tiger King. I'll watch it. But this guy, I don't want to watch a guy who's seeking to exploit people who have that condition. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like this guy. Like, okay, Super Size Me came out, and everyone's like, oh wow, this guy did that, and then he like kept doing it. And you're like, okay, we're not asking you to keep eating a bunch of McDonald's. It was it was an oddity that you did once, but don't make it a thing. That's how I feel about this guy. It's like, you thought this guy who liked tigers was crazy? There's a lady who likes chimps, and she's crazy. But
I don't...
And you thought, and there's a guy who likes elephants. There's people crazy. I'm like, okay, dude.
Okay, but I don't think it's like that. I think seriously, he asked the woman, like, why do you want to be a part of this? And she was basically just saying, because I want people to see my perspective on it. Like, right.
But you can exploit people willingly. People can consent to their exploitation. That happens all the time. That's actually nothing. That's actually textbook stuff right there.
Okay, well.
So that's why it just feels icky to me, because the solution is, for the best for the chimps, is to get them out of here.
Yeah.
All the time. It's just all the time. It's best for them in a research facility or zoo or wildlife center. You know what I mean? And for the people is to get them medical attention, preferably from a counselor.
But they're not. They're not at a place to do that. They don't think they're doing anything wrong, and
which is why I think the exact wrong thing is to give them a mic and a TV pack and say they're being documented to go on Netflix or whatever it came on. Because that, I think, reinforces the bad behavior.
Oh, okay.
So, let's get back to Brooke's
taking
buzz.
A turn. This is not fun anymore.
Let's get back.
Okay. All right.
Let's get back to Brooke's buzz.
Okay. Well, I have nothing to say
no,
now.
I want to hear it.
No, I mean, what can I even say?
Say what you want.
Well, I don't know what to even say.
Okay, why did you like the show?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I think that's like a subculture of people who are obsessed with chimps and monkeys and primates. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just interesting. And I
Okay.
don't think there were some people who did not want to be in the documentary.
Yeah.
The main woman who was in it, she was like all about it. She loved.
But do you think she was mentally stable?
Okay, well, I'm not on the clock right now, so I'm not gonna answer that.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize we had to pay you. I'll rent out some time.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, so you like the show.
But yeah, no, I liked it. I
Where-
thought it was very
It
interesting.
does come on Netflix. How many episodes is it?
It's on HBO.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's 4
Okay.
episodes. Yeah,
It's a little docu-series.
Yeah, just a little docu-series. I will say, of the place that they were working to get the chimpanzees from, they did all go to a safe place, so that should make you happy.
Yeah.
And one of them she kidnapped Tonka,
Yeah.
who was a known famous chimpanzee who was in lots of movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And she kidnapped him. Had him hidden for a little bit, but they did find him.
Yeah.
Thanks to the documentary crew.
Good.
Because they were like, this is now getting into ethical things, right? Because like we know that you're hiding this chimpanzee in your basement.
Right.
And we know that that's really not good for him.
Yeah.
And then she also talked about potentially euthanizing him.
Right.
Saying that he had like congestive heart failure, and they were like, oh, I don't know, like let's get that double checked. And yeah. So anyway, he did go. They did also talk about the dangers and how some people have had some serious injuries.
Yeah.
Because chimps can only be they're only like friendly until 5, and then they become aggressive and dangerous.
Yeah.
And strong, right? Like they can like really tear you apart. And I'm trying to think of what else stood out. Oh, I really think something that the main woman kept saying is like that they do kind of have this like lifelike, like human-like thing about them.
Right, but that's a mistake humans make, not the chimps.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying is I think that's part of why the like obsession comes in, because it's like they're human but they're not human, and it's almost like this like they can kind of control them until they can't control them.
Well, I think the issue is they have legs and arms and feet. The animal that most looks like us.
Right, yeah.
Right, we're both all primates. But like a dog, we think dogs have human emotions with the pouting and the, you know what I mean? Those are really just dog emotions.
Yeah.
And we try to like match them up, and we have an understanding, you know what I mean, of what they kind of mean. But in reality, they are just our pets, you know what I mean? That we've like. And so the things that we see in apes and chimps are just so different. I'm sure everyone knows this, but like how if you see most of the time they say when a chimp is like baring its teeth, they're not smiling. They're actively like, I have sharp teeth and will bite you. That's a display of anger. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's little differences and stuff like that. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's like if you have not seen the movie Nope, you should. It gives a kind of an insight into, and I agree with its opinion on that. And it uses a chimpanzee in that, not just to show the violence that they can exhibit, but just the issue of humans and the wild, as you might say. Yep. And spectacle. So. Okay.
Well, that's all for that.
Is that all we got for Brooks Buzz?
That's all we got.
Thank you for listening. We're just wrapping it up here. I'm glad you listened to that last segment from Brooks Buzz from last week. Brooke, you did a really good job with that segment.
Thanks.
It was so good. I'm glad we got it on this episode. But that's all we got this week, guys. But again, follow and like us at The People's Rose on all social media. You can see our beautiful faces on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And then you can follow us on other social media as well. Please like and follow and review us on your favorite podcast app. And just continue listening to us because we'll continue to crank out our takes, good or not. All right, Brooke, that's all we got this week.
You mean good or great?
Yes. All right. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.